Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Michael, and in this video we're going to talk about Elise, the scary spider lady in the bot lane as a support. In this video we're going to talk about everything from the pros and cons of Elise, to what Elise does, to how to play Elise in lane, what to level, what to buy, who to play with, who to play not against, and also what to do in the late game. So let us talk about the pros and the cons of Elise support. The pros include things like strong level 2, because you have 2 additional abilities at level 2, your all-in is actually quite strong. Strong late game scaling damage on her Q, flexible build paths, pretty high outplay potential, and strong poke in lane, and outside lane as well to a degree. The cons of Elise support. You are a spider, which, may not be bad for everybody, I guess. You have limited CC and utility. You're not as effective as other supports if you are not ahead. And your early game is kinda mana hungry, which is kind of a problem. Maybe just a small one, not terribly big, but a little bit of a small one. So let's kind of transition into talking about skilling order, because when do I get things? Why do I get things? Why do I want to get now instead of later? These are all very great questions, Michael. I will answer them right now. Generally, you want to get Q level 1. On Elise support, you can get E level 1. E level 1 gives you a lot of potential for like an invade or a counter invade. It gives you a lot of kill potential for an invade because it is a hard CC. But generally you want to get Q level 1 because it gives you some type of harass and poke in lane to kind of keep the other lane off your AD carries back. Generally level 2 you want to get E because it gives you a lot of kill potential. You want to follow it up with getting W at level 3. And from then on out you want to max Q, then W, then E, while always getting your ulti whenever you can. Since we talked about what skills to get and when to get them, let's now talk about what items to get. With Elise, you want to go kind of 2 different routes with your items. You either want to go A, damage with some support items, or B, full damage. You don't ever really want to go full support items because it doesn't really cater to the overall strengths of Elise's kit. So what you want to generally build is, you want to go GP10, grab a Philo or a Cages. Cages has better upgrades for AP based champions, best of it like Philo does, so take that into account. You want to go Sork Boots, Haunting Guys, Sightstone. If you want to go some type of supporty aura item, you can, like an Aegis, Locket, Zeeks, etc. You can even go Rylai's to give a little bit more utility to yourself, to kind of give that slow. You go Zonia's, there's a lot of different routes you can go for your late game kind of damage item. But generally you want to go for a GP10 if you want. Sightstone, Sork Boots, and Hunting Guys are all things that are very, very, very crucial to your kit and pretty much core. For runes, what I like to run at least, I have 2 different pages. One page is a full set of Magic Pen Red, a full set of Armor Yellows, a mixture of Scaling Mana Regen Blues and MR Blues, and then GP10 Quints. The other page is the exact same thing, but I replaced the GP10 Quints with HP Quints. For Masteries, it comes down to being 9021, 0921, or 01460, or like 01360. 9021 gives you a nice little offensive boost. 0921 gives you a lot of utility in the utility tree, while also giving you some tankiness and defense. 01416 is more of a tanky or kind of extension of the 0921 without as much utility, but with a little more tankiness and early game kind of defenses. Alright, what are your goals of Elise and how do you play her in lane? Your goals of Elise in lane are to get ahead. To harass, poke, and get ahead and snowball through either zoning and or getting kills, preferably getting kills. Your goal is not to go even with the other laner. Elise does not scale in the same fashion as other supports. If you want to get to late game, just be a pure utility based bot, Elise is going to kind of fall flat on her face in comparison to other supports. At level 1 as Elise, you want to harass with your Qs and your autos as effectively as possible. That don't mean spam your Q whenever it's off cooldown, but you want to kind of apply pressure on the enemy laner to keep them honest in lane. At level 2, your goal should be to go for the all-in. If you go QE, you have very strong all-in. You have 2 additional abilities on the enemy support, plus you also have that hard CC. If you hit that hard CC and your AD carry follows up, it's a very, very easy way to either blow a couple summoners or get a kill off it. 3 through 5, Elise still has an advantage on most supports because she still has 3 additional abilities. Level 6 is where you tend to fall behind on Elise support because you don't have that amazing Lulu ulti or that amazing Sona ulti that can really kind of turn a fight in the bot lane. With Elise in the mid to the late game, your goal should be, like most supports, to ward and deward effectively, go for objectives, make calls, you know, just the typical support stuff. With Elise Support, you have a little bit of an added dimension over a lot of supports, and that's that you can kind of make plays with her with your E. Similar to Blitzcrank and Thresh, you can use her E to try and catch somebody out of position, a prime target for example, try and stun them, have your team follow up, and potentially get an objective afterwards just by getting one person or setting up maybe a good team fight. As Elise Support in a team fight, you have two overall objectives. 1. Stay back and peel for your AD carry. 2. Dive into the enemy team and try and apply pressure. Let's talk about the first one real quick. Why should I stay back with my team and try and peel for my AD carry? If he's getting dove really hard, if they're applying a lot of pressure on him, stay back and peel for him. 2. If I myself am weak and don't have a lot of survivability or damage, I should stay back and not just dive in and insta-die. 3. Is my team weaker? If I dive in and I potentially die but do a little bit of damage, take off pressure, but they still die afterwards, it's probably not the best time to dive in if I'm just going to dive in as suicide. When should I actually dive in though? If my AD carry is getting pressured, can I dive in? If I'm strong enough to dive in, survive, do damage, and apply pressure and force them to peel me off of their AD carry, that's a good thing. If my team comes up and cleans up afterwards, and if we go maybe 2 for 5, 2 for 4, 1 for 4, 1 for 3, for example, with me being the only death, that's not a bad trade. You can either dive in with someone like Elise if you're strong and have the ability to really apply a lot of pressure and force them to kind of focus you, or you can stay back and peel. Her peel isn't amazing, but it does the job that you need to do. And with that, we come to a close on this Elise Support guide. I want to say thank you for watching if you made it this far, and welcome to Michael's Excuse Hour, where I make excuses for myself. The video may not seem like it's really sewn together well in terms of editing, and it may not be the perfect kind of smooth train of thought that it could be. In reality, I don't really think in a linear fashion, so kind of smoothing out that train of thought for me and kind of laying it down in a nice digestible way is my strong suit. And this is like a 1.5 month process for me. I recorded the audio like 1.5 months ago or something, back when I played a shit ton of Elise in the support role. I played like 40 games of her, and I had 40 games of like LoL replay that I was going to pick from, but because LoL replay broke, I can't really access those files anymore. So yeah, and then also I had PC problems and all this shit. So it's been a long process, and it's kind of wonky in the end how it kind of came out. So I do apologize for that, but I want to say again, thank you for watching, and I'll try and do more of this in the future. I'll try and smooth out the wrinkles, and hopefully they fade a bit with time.